Oregon is a beautiful place to work and live. Our schools, parks, and services are second to none. And we're proud of our public employees. They're on the front lines to help keep Oregon safe and protect our way of life.
So another good reason to stay on the trails in this park.
But an initiative to cut public employees' pay by 6% and retirement benefits by as much as 20% is on the Oregon ballot in November. As the campaign unfolds, let's take a few moments to learn about the kind of work public employees actually perform.
Do little rabbits eat serpents nowadays? And he laughed.
What about opening the wonderful world of books to children?
This is Julianne's first story time, so we fully expect that Julianne will become a book-loving child.
And it's not really so much scary, but it's a neat story. That's one of my very favorites.
It's what librarians like Susan Dunn do best at the Salem Public Library.
I'm floating on air for a week when someone comes in and says, the book that you gave my son to read, he just has not put it down. He read the whole weekend, and now he wants more books just like that. And when you have that kind of connection and that kind of commitment to books and to learning, you just feel right at home in a place like this.
Though retiring is a long way off for Susan, the possibility of the PERS initiative passing is still frightening.
It's scary, although maybe not everyone believes it. Librarians don't make that much money, and a lot of the city workers don't. And I think there's that impression that everybody just rakes in the money, and it's not true. Even though I'm not close to retiring yet, when I do retire, I want to know that I'm going to be able to make it. And the way things are going, it scares me. Maybe I won't be able to. I have to live with my brother, who's an accountant. He'll love that, I'm sure.
Well, yeah, I think a library is a good symbol of the value of books, the value of intellectual discourse, the value of information in a community, and I think those are the sort of things that make a community strong. So all these things are very important to us. We're willing to pay for them.
10-8.
Officer Steve Baska chose the Dalles Police Force because he likes the intimacy of a small town.
Smaller communities are a lot closer knit, and and it's nice to be able to drive around and see people you know, and be able to have some kind of friendly relationship with them rather than just being strangers.
But even small communities like the Dalles have not escaped the rapid rise of crime and violence.
In the 8.5 years I've been here, I've seen the violent crimes really increase. This year alone, we've had 3 or 4 shootings. It's getting spooky. It's not like the little quiet towns of a couple of decades ago. We're having to really be concerned with officer safety.
It wouldn't be safe to be out there without them. And I realize that in a society that we have today, we have lots of crime, lots of problems, and thank goodness we do have them.
Steve is concerned that passage of the PERS initiative might mean officers will leave for larger departments.
Hi, Margaret. If this initiative passes, we're out here risking our lives. It's not a real strong signal to us that we're appreciated by the communities. And right now, it's just the politicians that are trying to get it through for whatever reason. I don't know.
They didn't give them a pay raise, and they told them that, well, we'll give you this instead. And now it's, well, we're going to take it away, and that's not right. Somebody gives you something down the road, and then 10 years later it said, changed my mind. Well, that's garbage. And of all people that need it, it's law enforcement people. I don't see most of them out here being rich. They don't have big, fine homes. They work nights, crummy hours, put the life on their line. It's just, I think it's a rotten thing to do.
This park is managed differently than most other Portland parks and most other state parks. Our main mission or goal here is to protect the Tryon Creek Canyon and the creek.
As everyone knows, Oregonians do not take their wilderness for granted. Safeguarding it and helping others appreciate it is a labor of love for naturalist Mike Niss.
So what happens is when you step on the nest, it's not one bee, because one single bee sting would not chase away a hungry raccoon. Well, I hope I can make it more enjoyable by giving them some insight into this park, into its history, the plants, the animals. So it is more than just a collection of trees or a shady place to go jogging. It means more to them than that. Occasional or sporadic.
Every day, Mike leads nature walks at Tryon Creek State Park, only 10 minutes from downtown Portland.
Even though at this park we don't manipulate the environment, I help visitors see the environment. So I am helping the environment by hopefully opening up people's eyes and ears and senses to what's here and helping them appreciate it more. And it's very unusual to find all of them.
Committed public employees like Mike are an invaluable resource to our state. Why take the risk of losing them? Our future depends on whether we do a good job educating our children. For the past 27 years, science teacher John Borlander has been opening the minds of students at McNary High School in Kaiser.
We want students to feel that science is not an alien or a foreign subject. We want students to feel that they can be successful in science in particular and in school in general, and have students feel good about the educational process and about what they're accomplishing here in the public school system.
Former biology student Juanita Reyna recalls John saw her potential even though she was not so sure.
I think in our family, I was the first one to finish high school. And I was the first one to finish college, and that's basically because John Borlander encouraged me to do so.
John is worried the PERS ballot initiative will discourage young people from going into teaching.
We don't see the students that are our better students going into education at this time. And some of these students are looking at the salary packages and fringe benefit packages, and they're saying, why should I go into public teaching?
We've already lost key people. They have left because the situation right now is sufficiently depressing, and the chance of it passing in November is sufficiently likely that some of them are just leaving now. They're pulling the plug.
Oh, good boy, yes. Can you give us a smile?
I was wondering, you know those little white spots, these ones on his face? He's getting more and more on his...
Community health nurse Kathy Prowl brings her skills to this family because the mother was considered a high-risk pregnancy.
When he nurses or when he eats, and or maybe when he spits, he has a little bit of drool on his chin, and that can cause some of those little spots.
If I can help her to learn how to care for this infant, and if I can give her the positive reinforcement that she needs to show her that she can be a good mother, this infant will have an opportunity to grow and develop and have a much more positive life than he would have otherwise.
They keep me busy, that's for sure. But it's like not only has she been somebody here to watch over us health-wise, but she's become a friend, and it's kind of like part of the family now. It's going to be sad to see her not come around like that no more.
You're doing a good job. Your little babes are doing so well. You're doing a good job with them.
She means a lot to me and my kids. They get excited whenever they see her, usually. She's been there for me.
Kathy worries that the PERS initiative won't address any of her clients' pressing needs.
And yet the PERS initiative has no guarantees that the money that is saved, supposedly, by taking the 6% from the employees, is going to be spent to help my clients in their special needs. In fact, we don't know where that money may get spent. We have no guarantees that the legislature won't make some decisions about spending it on their own little projects, whatever those projects may be. And I don't think that's fair. You take care now.
I hate saying bye to you.
Well, you call if there's anything that I need to know or that I can help. I think this measure is so confusing and so complicated that nobody really knows how it's going to affect the people.
Who do we turn to in times of crisis, when lives are at stake? Ask Sutton Hillman Goucher.
They put their life on the line. He put his life on the line knowing that the oil furnace was down there and that fire was there and that we smelled oil bad and that it could have blown up and the fireman, he would have been absolutely fumigated, completely dead. But he didn't even think about it. He went down there. And you, like I say, you can't put a price on a life.
On a cold night in December last year, Sutton and her 3 children were pulled from the burning basement of her uncle's home in a daring rescue by Portland firefighters.
They were dead. There was no breathing. They were blue. Their eyes were wide open, and they were not alive. And to see them come back alive there isn't any way you can repay that.
Or ask the elderly residents of the Marshall Union Manor home who they called when they were suddenly awakened by a roaring fire on the 4th floor.
We went back in. I took one over my back, literally threw her over my shoulder. She was unconscious, and took her down 5 flights of stairs to waiting outside. Gave her to a firefighter on the ground, and right back up. Had to go back up. It was hot and smoky, and we kicked in a lot of doors.
So what I did is I went to her and I said, "Ma'am, do you mind if I pick you up and just carry you because we're not moving fast enough?" And she goes, "No problem." So I scooped her up and away we went.
They just picked me up, wheelchair and all, and took me out down the stairs.
I put my head out and I brought this light with me and I signaled them down there so they'd know I was here in this apartment, and they sent a man up to get me and take me out.
On that night, 22 were rescued from the Manor home fire. They, like the countless other Oregonians, have a lot to be grateful for, thanks to our public employees.
Please don't pass this thing. It's kind of like maybe it's the employees, public employees this time, and next time it'll be somebody else.
So I think the people of Oregon should maybe wake up and realize that years ago they made this agreement with them. They should at least stand by it.
The most hardcore person, if they're for this bill thing, if the fire happened to them tomorrow, they'd be changing that bill the next day.
I would be ashamed if people approved it. It's a level of mean-spiritedness that I would be embarrassed about. There are other ways of doing things, and this is not the right way.